Have you ever noticed how silence between two people can feel louder than an argument? One day you're laughing over burnt toast, and suddenly, years later, you're sitting across from your partner and there's nothing left to say. Today we are exploring 5 habits that quietly damage relationships after 50. These habits don't show up like a big fight. They arrive slowly, quietly, almost unnoticed. Let's begin. When couples reach their 50s, routines take over quietly. Life becomes a pattern. Wake up, make coffee, handle errands, take care of responsibilities, end the day watching something on a screen. On paper, it looks like stability. In reality, it can feel like living beside each other instead of living with each other. Proximity replaces intimacy, and the relationship starts functioning like a partnership of logistics rather than a connection of the heart. It doesn't happen suddenly. It happens slowly. The conversations shorten. The shared jokes fade. Meals turn into silent scrolling. Even simple questions like "How was your day?" eventually disappear because you already assume you know the answer. Two people can share the same space yet feel miles apart emotionally. As routines get stronger, curiosity fades. When curiosity fades, connection follows. Imagine 2 chairs sitting side by side on a train. They face in the same direction, heading to the same place. They're close, but they don't face each other. Many couples slip into that kind of arrangement without realizing it. They go through the same motions, but don't face each other emotionally anymore. What once felt like adventure now feels like autopilot. When we're younger, we make time for connection. We ask questions. We explore each other's interests. After 50, it becomes easier to assume we know everything already. The danger in that assumption is that people keep evolving. Experiences change them. Loss changes them. Dreams shift. A partner isn't the same person they were in their 20s or 30s, and if we stop being curious, we stop discovering who they are becoming. Living side by side also shows up in the smallest moments. One person sits in the living room watching television while the other retreats to the bedroom scrolling through a phone. Not because they are upset, just because it's routine. And yet, without realizing it, those tiny choices build distance. When couples stop sharing moments, they stop sharing emotions. Somewhere along the way, many people start to believe that connection requires grand effort. A vacation, a fancy dinner, a romantic plan. But connection doesn't need something big. It needs presence. It needs a willingness to pause the routine and pay attention. Even a short moment of sitting together without distractions can tell the other person, "I'm here with you, not just near you." Living side by side isn't a lack of love. It's a lack of intentional moments. And intentional moments are where love breathes. There's a quiet tension that builds when things go unsaid. People think avoiding difficult conversations protects the relationship, especially after 50. The goal is peace, calm, stability. But silence has a way of collecting dust, and every unsaid feeling becomes something you eventually trip over. When people don't speak up, they don't avoid conflict, they delay it. The emotion doesn't disappear. It just moves to the background and waits. Many couples fall into this pattern because life has already given them enough stress. Work changes, health concerns, retirement planning, grown children, they don't want the relationship to add more noise. So they swallow tiny disappointments. They convince themselves it's not worth bringing up. They say things like, "It's fine," or "I don't want to start anything." But what feels like keeping the peace slowly starts to feel like emotional distance. There's a common scene in long-term relationships. One partner makes a comment that stings a little. Maybe they joke in a way that doesn't feel funny. Maybe they forget something important. The moment is small, so the other partner says nothing. But later that night, they replay that comment in their head. They don't sleep well. They wake up quieter. The other person senses something is off, but they don't ask. That sets the stage for another day of silence. When these small hurts pile up, the emotional space between two people becomes crowded with unspoken thoughts. Instead of seeing each other clearly, they see assumptions, guesses, and projections. The relationship becomes less about what's happening and more about what each person assumes the other is thinking. Holding back also removes vulnerability, and vulnerability is how relationships grow. When someone stops expressing their fears or hopes, the other person loses access to that deeper emotional world. Over time, a couple can become experts at avoiding discomfort, but strangers to each other's inner lives. What makes this habit so damaging is that it doesn't look harmful. It looks gentle. It looks patient. It looks like maturity. A couple may even think they're being thoughtful by not bringing up their feelings. But peace without honesty is a temporary illusion. The turning point often happens in a surprising way. One day, after years of letting things slide, something small breaks the silence. A forgotten errand. A sarcastic tone. Suddenly, a decade of bottled frustration pours out all at once, and both people feel overwhelmed and confused. They wonder how such a small moment became so big. When people speak openly, even about uncomfortable things, it clears the emotional air. Honest conversations don't push partners apart. They keep them from drifting away in silence. There comes a point in long relationships when people stop arguing with the person standing in front of them and start arguing with the memory of who that person used to be. This habit often appears after 50, when life transitions begin to pile up. Retirement changes routines. Health shifts. Energy levels aren't the same. Priorities evolve. One partner may have slowed down, while the other still has the urge to stay active. These changes can create a subtle sense of loss, not just for what the relationship used to feel like, but also for who each person used to be. Many couples don't realize they are comparing their partner to the past. It shows up in small phrases. You used to be more affectionate. You used to surprise me. You used to care. These words are not about the present moment. They are about disappointment tied to memory. They pull the relationship backward rather than forward. When someone hears that comparison, they don't feel understood. They feel inadequate, like they failed at staying the same person forever. But people don't stay still. Experience changes us. Parenting changes us. Loss changes us. Even joy changes us. The person you loved 20 or 30 years ago isn't gone. They have changed, just like you have. Expecting someone to remain exactly who they were in the early years of a relationship is like expecting a tree to stay a sapling. Growth doesn't make the original version invalid. It just means the story has evolved. The surprising truth is that comparing to the past erases the good that exists right now. Maybe your partner isn't as spontaneous anymore, but they show up when you need them. Maybe they don't plan surprises, but they are steady and present in ways they weren't before. Love changes shape. Attraction matures. Passion becomes partnership. And partnership is built on presence, not nostalgia. When couples focus too much on what used to be, they miss the chance to discover who their partner has become. Curiosity disappears. Appreciation fades. Instead of asking, "Why aren't you like before?" a more honest question might be, "Who are you now, and how can I know you better?" Relationships stay alive when both people allow growth. Not when they try to rewind. When we stop demanding that someone stay who they were, we create space to fall in love with who they are today. The version of your partner that stands beside you, with everything they've lived through, may hold depths you never explored because you were busy looking backward. Some couples don't notice it happening. They wake up one day and realize the playfulness that once came so naturally has quietly disappeared. In the early years, they talked for hours. They teased each other. They laughed over little things. Back then, they weren't just partners. They were friends. Over time, responsibilities replaced that easy friendship. There were kids to raise, careers to manage, bills to pay. Each year required more energy and left less space for being light-hearted. After 50, those responsibilities shift, but the habit of seriousness stays. Life becomes more about tasks and routines than connection. Friendship is the foundation of a strong relationship, yet it is one of the first things to fade if nobody protects it. Romance may change with age, but friendship can deepen. Friendship listens without trying to fix everything. Friendship enjoys the small moments. Friendship says, "I like you, not just I love you." Love may carry commitment. Friendship carries joy. Picture a couple sitting in a restaurant. They aren't arguing, but they aren't talking either. They look more like coworkers sharing a silent meal than two people who once couldn't get enough of each other. They know everything about each other's history, but very little about each other's current world. They know the schedule. They know the chores. But they may not know what the other person is curious about now, or what they dream about next. Without friendship, a relationship becomes functional, efficient, predictable, but not fulfilling. Friendship needs curiosity. If we stop asking questions, we stop discovering each other. If we stop discovering, we stop connecting. It doesn't take a dramatic gesture to rebuild friendship. It takes small moments where both people choose presence. Sitting together after dinner instead of rushing to separate screens. Laughing at something silly without worrying about feeling childish. Asking a question that invites a real conversation, not just a logistical one. Friendship grows in moments where no one is trying to solve anything. Many people assume that friendship fades because the relationship changed. In reality, friendship fades because attention shifted. Life got busy. The focus turned toward responsibilities. The relationship started running on autopilot. Couples stopped doing things together for the simple reason of enjoying each other. They only coordinate, strategize, and plan instead of play. Yet friendship can return at any age. It does not require youth. It requires intention. Friendship is choosing to show your partner that you still enjoy who they are, not just what they do. When friendship is alive, connection feels effortless again. The relationship becomes lighter. The conversations become richer. You feel like you are not just sharing a life, but actually living it together. Couples often spend years planning everything except their future together. They plan errands, meals, doctor visits, and family gatherings. They plan what to do this weekend and what to buy at the store. But when it comes to the bigger picture, the next chapter of life, the conversation stays vague. After 50, the future feels closer and more real. Retirement becomes part of daily thinking. Finances, health, and lifestyle choices carry more weight. Yet couples sometimes avoid talking about these things because these conversations feel emotional. They require honesty, vulnerability, and decisions that affect both people. One partner might assume they will travel more. The other imagines a quiet life at home. One may want to help adult children financially. The other may believe that savings should be protected for security. These differences stay unspoken because neither person wants to start tension. Instead of talking about goals and hopes, they stay silent. The result is not peace. It's distance. Lack of planning can create confusion and frustration. Partners may unintentionally step on each other's dreams. The person who wants adventure feels trapped. The person who wants quiet feels overwhelmed. Without conversations, people make assumptions. Assumptions turn into misunderstandings. And misunderstandings turn into arguments that seem to appear out of nowhere. Money is often the heart of the silence. One partner may spend freely, believing life should be enjoyed now. The other may become cautious, thinking security matters more than comfort. The unspoken fear behind it is the same: nobody wants to feel controlled. Nobody wants to feel alone in decision-making. And when a couple doesn't plan together, they begin living separate futures under the same roof. Planning together doesn't mean agreeing on everything. It means feeling included. Feeling valued. Feeling like both voices matter. A simple conversation can remove so much stress. What do you picture our life looking like in 5 or 10 years? That question shifts focus from chores and routines to partnership and vision. Some couples discover they want the same things but never expressed them. Others learn that their goals are different, but find a way to create a shared version that honors both. Talking about the future also includes emotional hopes, not just logistics. What kind of lifestyle feels meaningful? What relationships matter most? What do we want our days to feel like? These questions bring a couple back to dreaming again, something many stop doing after years of responsibility. When couples share their vision, they rebuild connection. They move from surviving the present to shaping the future. The relationship becomes not just something they live in, but something they build together. Strong relationships are not built on grand gestures. They are built on simple habits. Showing up. Speaking honestly. Choosing kindness. Reconnecting again and again. If anything in this video felt true for you, you are not alone. Relationships don't fall apart because of one big moment. They fade when the small moments stop happening. Share your story in the comments. Has there been a moment that made you realize connection matters more than routine? Like this video if it helped you reflect, and subscribe for more relationship and family bonding insights. You deserve a love that feels safe, seen and appreciated.